Welcome to the Stop Over Drinking and Start Living podcast, where high-achieving, goal-oriented rebel women come to learn how to live a vibrant and fulfilling life without requiring alcohol to get through it. No labels, no judgments, no saying you'll never drink again. Just real proven methods to help you stop rebelling against yourself with alcohol so you can drink less and do more. I'm your host, Angela Mascenik. Let's dig in. Welcome to episode 301, How to Let It Go. Well, hello. Welcome back to the podcast. 301 episodes. I've heard from so many of you that you loved the 300th episode with me and Coach Steph. So if you haven't listened to that yet, please make sure you do. It was so good. And thank you for all of your comments and your reviews and all the love around the podcast. I receive it all and I love it. And I am fired up to do another 300 episodes. So let's go. This week, I want to talk about how to let it go. I have coached hundreds and hundreds of women around lots of different topics. And, by the time they come to me, by the time you guys find this podcast, most people have a well-established relationship with alcohol. And they've used alcohol for sunny days and rainy days and painful times and tragic times and unexpected times and everything in between. And so one of the things that we work on when we change our relationship with alcohol is really understanding why we're using it. Alcohol is a tool. And if you overdrink alcohol, you used alcohol to help manage your feelings, okay? In the simplest way to put it. And when you use alcohol to manage your feelings, it's usually because things have happened in your past, good, bad, and ugly, that drive that behavior of you wanting to escape from something. And it really does typically go beyond boredom. Alcohol, again, is a tool that we use to deal with things. And it could be a difficult relationship. It could be something, that we're not really conscious of that happened in our past, or we went through a difficult divorce, or our kids left the house, or we're estranged from family members, or, something terrible happened to us in the past and we started using alcohol to cope, right? I used alcohol a lot to cope when I had very young babies and, not having any freedom, I felt like, and trying to get through difficult evenings. So, that was just one instance of me using alcohol. The other one was dealing with major anxiety and overwhelm with having 3 kids and working full time and trying to piece it all together was very overwhelming for me. So a lot of times I hear when I'm coaching people is that they just need to let things go, right? Something happened in the past. Maybe it was a divorce or a death of a parent or something like that. And they come on and they're like, I just need to let this go. And what I have found through my own work with therapy and coaching and healing, difficult things in my past is that things just don't get let gone. Okay. Things hurt us and we get triggered, and it's okay if you haven't let it go, first of all. And so what I've found over the years is that it just gets easier to manage and that things just don't disappear from our memory, or painful events that happened in our past just don't get forgotten about. We have a human brain that remembers a lot of things, and we remember the painful things way more, unfortunately, than we remember the good stuff. And so it makes sense that you can't let go of something that's happened in your past that was very difficult for you. So when I was actually teaching in my Alive AF membership, the workshop of the month for October is relationships and how to improve our relationships. And a lot of times we're hurt by people, right? And somebody commented like, I should be able to let this go by now in the chat. And it made me stop and pause and coach on this a little bit, because we feel bad when we keep bringing up our memories around this stuff, right? And we get frustrated with ourselves and we feel bad about feeling triggered around this stuff still and how it still affects us many years later. And I want you to be okay with things coming up from the past that you feel like you should have moved on by now. And that's just not how it works. Okay. We have memories, and the painful things sort of imprint on us. And, memories will trigger us to think this way. Different people behaving in a certain way will trigger us to think about our past. And we feel that in our bodies. Okay. And so instead of wishing you could let it go and move on, we just want to work on accepting that it happened and work on reducing the impact that that thing that happened to us in the past has on us today. And so when you work with me and you join my coaching programs, whether it's private coaching or in my memberships or coming on a retreat or whatever it is, we work on healing that. And part of that healing of that is accepting what did happen, right? Like we don't want to just brush it under the rug. We want to look at it and actually accept that it did happen. We can't change the past, but we can change how we think about the past and how we respond to being triggered around the past. And so this whole idea of how do I let something go is you can just work on accepting it, healing yourself from that. And that's a process, right? But by learning how to feel your feelings, talking about it, getting coaching on it, if you need to see a therapist on it, shining some light on that hurt and healing that within yourself so that when you get triggered, you know how to handle that and you can tell yourself some different things that help you move through that situation better. Okay. And while I was teaching this in my class, Coach Steph, who was on the podcast last week and who also coaches inside my coaching programs, she wrote, "I've learned to accept that things happened. I don't try to let things go anymore." And I really, really like this because the idea that we should be letting things go usually is because they're not, right? We're not letting things go. Like they still pop up for us. And so it just adds a layer of shame and frustration when we think we should be moved on by some of these things. And when that pops up, we're not, right? Like we're in that feeling state and we're triggered about something for a reason. That was a painful experience for you. And you're probably always going to remember that. And we can work on how you think about that situation. We can work on some healing techniques for you to connect with yourself in that moment, to pause, stop, notice, and feel, right? Stop, notice, and process, the SNP in which I teach, right? And you're just, hand to chest. I'm putting both my hands over my heart right now. You recognize I'm feeling triggered. That did happen, but I'm okay today. That's a very simple way of letting yourself acknowledge that that painful thing happened, that you're probably not in that situation right now. It's just that your body is remembering something and it feels very similar. And so you want to learn how to connect with yourself in that moment and let yourself know that you're okay right now. Okay, that's a very simple sort of general way that you can apply what I'm teaching about acceptance right now versus letting it go. When you force yourself to be like, I need to move on, I need to let this go, that's just not the reality, right? So you're kind of fighting with what is actually happening, and you're not really acknowledging the pain that you do have around that issue. And when we don't acknowledge the pain that we have around that issue, it's sort of like gaslighting yourself. You're basically telling yourself you shouldn't be feeling this way and you should be moved on by it. And as you know, when people tell you that, right? So say you're sharing something that bothered you in the past. It could be yesterday, it could be years ago. And you're sharing that with the person that maybe hurt you, okay? And they say you should be moved on from that. Why can't you let that go? Like that doesn't feel good to receive, right? Feels terrible. Like you're not being validated, right? They're not hearing you. They're not having empathy for you. And so when we do that to ourselves, which is where most of the hurt comes from, is how we talk to ourselves. When we tell ourselves we need to let that go, I need to let that go, I shouldn't be bothered by this anymore. That happened so long ago. That also feels bad, right? So I really want you guys to slow down and think about something in your past that still feels hurtful for you today. Okay? We all have it. You can't live a human life without having some, traumas and hurt happen to you in your life. It's just you can't escape it. Okay? So we all have it. So figure out what that is, maybe one situation for you, and just try on the thought, I need to move on from that. How does that feel for you? Like when I think about my past and some of the hurt that's happened with me in my past, it just doesn't feel right. That's all I know. It just doesn't feel right. I feel resistant to the idea that I need to let something go. Because the truth is, that thing happened. And I can do better for myself when I can learn how to accept and be with that trigger in the moment and let myself know that I'm okay. I don't need to respond. I don't need to act from this feeling right now. I can give myself some spaciousness for it and take really good care of myself. That's such a better approach than trying to forget something happened and to move on. You can try, but if you ask yourself if that's been working for you, you'll probably find that it hasn't been, right? I can't tell you how I wish I could just sort of erase it from my memory, some of these things, right? It doesn't work. So the best thing you can do is learn how to accept, take really good care of yourself when those things do pop up in random situations, I feel a lot of shame sometimes. That's my biggest thing. That's evidence of something happening in my past where I felt like I've done something wrong. And I have to really look at this specific situation now and ask myself some reflective questions. Have I done anything wrong today? Is there some responsibility that I have in this moment? And usually it's just an old wound that gets popped up because something pressed on it, right? And it's just an opportunity for you to accept and to heal for yourself what has happened for you in the past. And it's not saying that you're letting people off the hook or anything like that. You can, share with people how you feel and try to repair relationships in the past. But this is more about you letting go of the idea that you need to let something go. And if that hasn't worked for you and you recognize that you have been telling yourself you need to let things go for a long time and you're still hung up on it, we need to try a different approach. Okay, so I would invite you to think about letting go of letting it go and welcoming in more acceptance and learning how to manage and take care of yourself when those triggers pop in. Okay. And this is where you might need therapy, you might need direct coaching or another perspective to help you learn some of these tools. I actually have spots available for private coaching where we can dig into some of this stuff on a deeper level. You can get coaching on this in the Live AF membership, but sometimes you need a deeper dive session. Dedicated one-on-one support can be really helpful for these bigger issues that you might need to, evaluate and have space to heal from. Therapy has really helped me with this, to be able to recognize some of these painful points in my past and to have this space one-on-one to heal that. And to then be able to recognize when I'm having similar triggers in my current life and be able to handle those things better. Therapy really helped me with that. And now I'm able to have these tools and apply these tools to my life where they're not so disruptive and they don't spin me around so much. And I'm just able to recognize what it is, connect with myself, accept and heal that, and then move on quicker. And so it's not such a disruption. It doesn't cause me to go drink or go binge eat or need to completely derail what I have planned for myself during the day. So I would invite you to explore that, or if you want my direct coaching and have a 3-month private coaching experience with me, I will put the link to apply to do private coaching with me in the show notes. And we can explore what that might look like for you if you want my support. So I'm sending you all so much love. Recognize that we all have issues in our past and even things that are happening right now that are big. And we want to tell ourselves, I need to move on. It's not that bad. And the truth is that if it feels bad, it deserves some attention. It deserves you to acknowledge and accept that that happened and for you to work on healing that within yourself. All right, my friends, thank you for your amazing wisdom, Coach Jeff. I'm going to read her quote again. I've learned to accept that things happened. I don't try to let things go anymore. And I love that from her because it's such a better, more applicable approach, an acceptable and loving approach, instead of just saying, I need to let it go and moving on. We need to heal it. That's what we need to do. I love you all, and we will talk to you next week. Keep being amazing. I want you to check out angelamascenik.com/aliveaf. You know what it's like to have a desire to cut back on your drinking, right? You start to read books, listen to podcasts, try things, but you might not be able to yet put all the pieces and suggestions together in a way that actually makes sense and works for you. You might struggle with beating yourself up after an overdrink. You might get frustrated with yourself when you take 2 steps forward and then another 2 steps back, and get overwhelmed with what's right and wrong about your relationship with alcohol. Your friends tell you that you should be able to have just 1 drink, and it isn't a big deal. You might be white-knuckling through urges and resisting instead of peacefully processing them. And you might struggle with your identity as someone who has enjoyed having a lot of wine or alcohol in your life. It's around you all the time. It's what you do and who you are. Well, after 5 years of successfully coaching hundreds of women through these struggles, I have created the Alive AF membership, where women like you can learn the basics on what it takes to cut back and reach your goals with alcohol, whether it is to just drink less or totally quit. And when you join, you will get the exact framework I used to change my own relationship with alcohol and still use today, that has led me to be alcohol-free for over 5 years. You're going to get access to my resources, videos, and worksheets that have been proven to change and reduce how much you drink. Every day you can ask questions, share your obstacles, and get coaching and direct support on the challenges you will face with love and no judgment. Also, you will get immediate access to workshops like uncovering your alcohol identity and changing it, how to say no to things that don't support your new identity or life or goals, aka boundaries. A workshop called Creating Emotional Agency, and another one, How to Manage Your Mind to Succeed at Your Goals, and more. Every month we have a brand new workshop. These workshops are filled with step-by-step prompts and instruction to help you create the exact relationship with alcohol that is best for you. My mission and vision for Alive AF is to be a hub of support and resources for women to come and learn how to do what is best for them and becoming more alive in the process. When you join, you're going to learn how to take care of yourself better, how to feel good and become more alive and go after the life that you really want. I want this membership to be affordable and an easy solution where you can get all the help you need in one simple place whenever you need it. So, no need to go read another book, find a new podcast, attend a free webinar, or go down the path of piecemealing it all together. Join Alive AF and have it all there in one place for you anytime you need it. So, go to angelamascenik.com/aliveaf, and enrollment is open right now. See you inside.